Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Christina and this is Life of Wine and Books. Today I'm going to be talking about all of the books I hope to read in September. And it's a really lofty goal for me. This huge stack of books. I have a sticky note full of audiobooks I want to get through. And it's a very big list, especially given the fact that my wedding's in October. I'm back in grad classes for the semester and school starts. So I think I might have overextended myself a little bit, but regardless of that, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you see like weird movement, Willow's here right as I sat down to film. She's like, cool, playtime, and is like right in my face. So I have her little basket here. It's usually full of toys that have died, but there's some toys in here that I just was cleaning up. A ball and some socks. So I gave her a sock that she can play with. It's like one of her socks. And so that's keeping her happy, but she'll probably be back at some point in the very near future because she's very needy. Alright, I think I'm going to start with the physical books I want to read, and then I'm going to go into the audiobooks I want to listen to. The first physical book I want to read is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. A Lesson in Vengeance it's like a dark academia book, but it has like witchcraft in it, and it deals with this girl and her, I'm losing words. Her girlfriend dies. They go to this prestigious boarding school. She takes a year off. She's back to finish school. She's even in the same dorm room she was in before, but she's trying to figure out what happened to her girlfriend. And I feel like I did a really, really bad job of explaining what this book is about. I've heard really good things about it, and the cover, let's just take a minute to appreciate how absolutely beautiful this cover is. How's the unwrapped? It's okay, but this cover, oh my gosh, I love everything about it. The next book I want to read is Horrorstor by Grady Hendrix. I don't know if you're noticing a trend here. This book is awesome. It's formatted like an IKEA magazine. So like you have like a map, there's like an application, there's coupons in the back. I did in one of my vlogs, I did an unboxing of this book and I freaked out. So this book is a ghost story that takes place in an IKEA type store called, I don't remember what it's called, Orsk. And a manager and 2 employees agree to stay the night in this store to figure out what's going on because there's all of these weird phenomenon that's happening. I love the formatting of this. It looks awesome. It's by the author of the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, which is another book I want to try to read this month, but we'll get to that. I love everything about how this is formatted. Apparently the audiobook, which I was not able to get on Hoopla or Libby, has like PA announcements and everything in it. So if you can get the audiobook, that would be really cool as well. My next book is actually really exciting. It's called A Woman of Intelligence by Karen Tanabe. You really got to do this here? Really? Can I have this? Can I have lamb chop, please? Okay. Apparently right here is where we need to squeak the lamb chop and whip it around. So, Karen Tanabe, cool fact, she was in my mom's first grade class. My mom taught her first grade. It was the first year my mom was a teacher. So when she came out with a new book, my mom wanted to read this for book club, and we're like, that sounds awesome. It kind of reminds me of Atomic Love, which came out, I think, earlier this year, about a year ago maybe. And yeah, about a year ago, because I got it. It was one of my first book of the month books. And it's about, sorry, gotta get rid of the willow. It's about a woman who, she's like a socialite up in New York, but she wants like more out of life. And then she's approached by the FBI to spy on a man from her past who may be a Soviet spy. And it sounds awesome, and the cover's gorgeous, and it was written by my mom's student, so that makes it extra special. The next book I have is Cilka's Journey by Heather Morris, and this is the sequel to the Tattooist of Auschwitz. I always forget if it's the tattooist or the tattoo artist. So this book follows Cilka, who's one of the characters in the Tattooist of Auschwitz, and she had been forced into a relationship with a high-ranking Nazi official in the first book. And because of that relationship, which was not consensual, she is sent to a Soviet gulag after the war. And this is about her journey and her experiences after that. I was not the biggest fan of The Tattooist of Auschwitz, but this is the one I really wanted to read. I read that one so I could read this one. And so I'm like, it's time for me to read this book. Also, cool fact, there's a third one of the, this is part of a trilogy now. So I didn't know until it was like a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh wow, there's another one. I don't know if it's out now, but if it isn't, it's coming out really soon. Hello, Willow. Hello, do we want to say hello? Say hello. I am very hyper. I'm very hyper. Okay, take lamb chop. Okay, go get lamb chop. She has a stuffed lamb chop toy. My next book is The Princess Will Save You by Sarah Henning. And this is like an homage to The Princess Bride, which is like my favorite movie ever. Except the princess is going off to actually rescue the farm boy. I'm doing a Princess Bride themed readathon for the month of September into mid-October, and I'll link that video down below. And this is the group book that we're doing. You don't have to read this to complete the challenge, but it's kind of like an added bonus challenge if you wanted to do it. Plus, I mean, homage to The Princess Bride. Who wouldn't want a book like that in their lives? My next book is 56 Days, wow, my voice just cracked, by Catherine Ryan Howard. And this is one of my favorite, I don't know if you'd call it a trope. It's where you know what happens. You're supposed to know what happens, and it's kind of like through flashbacks, you're seeing what led up to this. Kind of like Big Little Lies. You know what happens and what led up to this. Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, here's another sock. Okay, take the sock. Bye. Goodbye. So this is a couple. They meet right before COVID hits. So I didn't want this book at first, but it kind of grew on me, so I added this as an add-on for my book of the month. So this was a book of the month choice, I think in July. And so they meet right before COVID, and when a lockdown is announced, they decide to move in together. You know, they've only known each other for what, like 2 weeks? A few weeks, and then 56 days after they meet, one of them is dead. And so it's, you know, did the pressure of quarantine get to them? What happened? How did this all unravel? So I like that you know that this person dies, or somebody dies, but what led up to that somebody dying? The last physical book I have is Court of Lions by Samaya Dayoud, and this is the sequel to Mirage. I pre-ordered the paperback because the paperback cover matched both paperback covers match, while the hardcover of Mirage looks very different from the hardcover of Court of Lions, and I wanted them to look similar, like that. So I'm not going to go into what this is about, except that it's a follow-up to Mirage, which is a fabulous book. It is a sci-fi book, young adult book that is set in a North African type society. And just look at this cover. It is stunning. Now that we've done all the physical books, I have a handy dandy sticky note right here. I have all the audiobooks I want to go through. The first audiobook I want to listen to is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. This is a YA book in verse, and it is about a young man. His brother has just been shot and killed, and he lives in a neighborhood where if that happens, you know, revenge, you stand up for your family, you make a stand. So he goes upstairs to get the gun from his apartment, and on his way back down, he's thinking through what's going to happen, what is he going to do, and he imagines all these conversations with all these different people in his life and how they would react to him carrying out revenge for his brother's murder. It sounds amazing and eye-opening, and just something that sounds like it's going to take your heart and squeeze it and break it into a million billion little pieces. My next book is one, I'm very late to this one, but it's Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. If you don't know what this book is about, pretty much it is a LGBTQ plus book focusing on the the first son, so the President of the United States' son, and Prince Harry of England type of thing. And so you have Prince Harry, the bad boy, and it's enemies to lovers type of thing. It's been everywhere. And I'm like, you know what? It's time. I'm going to read this book now. My next book is one that I mentioned briefly already, and that's the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. And this is a book where you have these women, they're like middle-aged women, they have a book club in like suburbia in the south somewhere. I think it's Florida? I want to say Florida, although it might be Georgia. There's peaches on the cover, but I feel like people are like, is it Georgia, is it Florida, Georgia, Florida? Because Georgia is peaches, but I've heard then people say Florida. And they're reading very dry, run-of-the-mill books, and then they start reading some like saucier, you know, more exciting books, and then they become convinced that a new neighbor in their neighborhood is a vampire. And I feel like I'm not doing this book justice in terms of describing it, but that's what I've been told, and it sounds really awesome. My last book is Circling the Sun by, I'm going to cheat here, Paula McLean. And this is a book club book. I'm in 2 different book clubs. I'm just going to read this summary because I feel like I can't do this one justice. Brought to Kenya from England as a child and then abandoned by her mother, Beryl Markham is raised by both her father and the native Kipsigis tribe who share his estate. Her unconventional upbringing transforms Beryl into a bold young woman with a fierce love of all things wild and an inherent understanding of nature's delicate balance. But even the wild child must grow up, and when everything Beryl knows and trusts dissolves, she is catapulted into a string of disastrous relationships. Beryl forges her own path as a horse trainer, and her uncommon style attracts the eye of the Happy Valley set, a decadent bohemian community of European expats who also live and love by their own set of rules. But it's the ruggedly charismatic Dennis Finch Hatton who ultimately helps Beryl navigate the uncharted territory of her own heart. The intensity of their love reveals Beryl's truest self and her fate to fly. Sorry, Willow really wants my sticky note, which I've now crumpled up. So yeah, that is a book club book that I am going to read as well. I'm going to do the audiobook of that one. So yeah, guys, that is all of the books that I hope to read and listen to in the month of September. I'm going to have a new TBR video coming out soon, pretty soon after this one. Really, Willow? Really? Here, put up the sock. Here, take the sock. And that's going to be all the books I want to read for Halloween. So you're going to see some repeats from here, some new ones as well. In the meantime, comment down below with the books you're looking forward to reading in September. If you've read any of these books that I hope to read, what did you think? And if you haven't, feel free to comment with the apple emoji. In the meantime, if you liked what you saw, please feel free to like, subscribe, hit that bell so you get notifications when I upload new videos. Willow and I would be much obliged. In the meantime, I'll see you soon. Stay healthy and stay well. Bye, guys.